Good morning, Year 10. This is just the first kind of feedback session that I'm going to give you. Every week, I'm giving you a question on Show My Homework in combination with the other work that you're being given, and I'm asking you to complete it and submit it to me via Show My Homework. The reason why this one has been delayed is because very little work has actually been completed by this Year 10 class. Now, although we are struggling with lockdown and we're struggling to get all our other work completed, you are the most important year group. You have to keep working, you have to keep completing work. If you are going to be able to complete this course, we only have this end of this year and we have next year, but we still have a good amount to get through. And I want to put you in a position at the end of year 11 where we have lots of time to revise. So completing work, although it's a challenge, that challenge needs to be met. It needs, you need to put the effort in now. So I am expecting to see people submitting work to me on time, and I'm expecting that work to be gotten to me in an appropriate way. Um, Anything you send to me, I will mark. Anything you send to me will go towards an end of year grade. Anything you send to me will go towards your predicted grade as well. Not completing work at this stage is only going to have a negative impact on your predicted grades, okay, at the end of this year, because there will be a gap in your knowledge. So the question I set for you in week 1 was a challenging question. I set you the biggest question on the entire paper, which is a 16-mark question. And the question was, religion is the main reason the British Empire has expanded from 790 to present day. How far do you agree with this statement? Now, I've taken one person's answer uh, who had a really good go at it. Sorry, and I put that at the bottom, and we're going to go through that. So first of all, I'm going to go through what I would include. We'll go through a bit of structure, and then we'll go through a model answer. So you must address the factor in the question and two others. That's what this question is asking you to. And the factor it includes in the question is religion, and it's all about expanding the British Empire. Now, to get full marks on this question, or to get high marks on this question, you need to also include two other factors. And the factors we look at are war, religion, government, science and technology, ideas, individuals, and economic resources. So you can choose two of those to go along with religion. Now, I've chosen my first paragraph to be on religion, which is in the question. My second one is going to be on economic resources. My third one is going to be science and technology, because I think those are the most important factors for expanding an empire. So look at how much information, just how much information you could include in this answer. Now it says from 790 to present day, so you've got to go across everything from the Vikings to what we've studied most recently, which is the expansion into Africa. There are lots of different things that you can include. So just have a look at them. I'm not going to read through all of them, but for example, for religion, in terms of increasing the empire, we could talk about the, Alfred the Great converting the Vikings and Guthrum to Christianity. Religion plays a part in expanding that empire, because that empire that gets created is a Christian empire. That North Sea Empire is a Christian empire. So is the Angevin Empire. It's a Christian empire. Britain goes to war during the 100 Years' War because of Christianity, because the King of England is seen as the rightful Christian king. We've got Puritans leaving England to start up American colonies to get religious freedoms. They go into Massachusetts Bay Colony. We've got missionaries going to Africa to support the natives and the slaves. We've got the English government planting Scottish Protestants in Ulster to drive out the Catholics. We've got the white man's burden to Christianise both Africa and India. On the counter side, we could say actually economic resources are more significant. You could talk about the fact that the North Sea Empire was created to get Danegeld, to get more money. It started off as about golden slaves. We can talk about piracy and privateering, and Elizabethan explorers meant that the wealth was coming from the west. We can talk about this triangular slave trade. The increase in empire was due to get more profit from different parts. Highland clearances, the movement of people from Scotland to parts of New Zealand, increasing the empire there was all to do with financial gain in the Highlands. Colonisation of India, it was seen as the jewel in the crown. It was a very wealthy, We have the nabobs and the East India Company making huge amounts of money. Colonization of Africa was a replacement for the slave trade, as it was seen as a raw material haven. Things like groundnut oil were used to help run the Industrial Revolution. They needed the oil to lubricate the machines. And finally, you can talk about science and technology, because without the technology, like the Viking longships, the Vikings would not have been able to get to England, and that wouldn't have allowed the North Sea Empire. With the 100 Years' War, the longbows allowed the British to have famous victories against the French and increase their land there. During the Elizabethan age, the ship technology, the sails that were being used, allowed the country to grow and spread further. And we know that the ammunition cartridges were really important during the Indian Mutiny. Without that technology, without the technology of guns, Britain would not have been able to secure so much land in India. So let's have a look at the structure then. 3 paragraphs and a conclusion. So the first paragraph always introduces the religious aspect. So to a large extent, I agree that the British Empire expanded because of religion. I know this because, and I could pick any one of these. This could be one of my points. All right, so I'd add one of those points in. I'd then say this is important because, and I would choose one, and I would say why that one specifically is important. I'd link it back to the question. What I'd probably do is I'd try and add another one to show, especially if I'd chosen a Viking one, I might try and choose one that's got to do with the exploration of Africa, because it shows kind of a vast time period, and this exam question is asking you for large time periods. My second paragraph, on the other hand, other factors such as, and I would say economic resources played a significant role because, and I would say why. I know this because, and I would take maybe this one here, North American migration for better quality of life plus wealth. And I talk about the indentured servants, how they moved there for a better standard of life. This is important because people left Britain to go and settle in America, and therefore it became a British colony expanding the empire. And then I do exactly the same thing for paragraph 3, and I would do it on science and technology, and I would choose one of these, and I would talk about it. The most important thing is this was important because how are you going to link that fact that you've just included back to the question? How does it show that the British Empire has expanded? And of course, the final thing you need to add is a conclusion, as the sentence starts with the view there. So I'm going to just talk about one answer that I've had in, and this is a nice response. Okay, it's a good response, especially for where we are right now. We're going to have lots of time to continue to do 16 more questions, but this is a really good start. So religion is clearly a significant part of British colonialism. To begin with, the colonists who travelled to New England, America, were mostly Puritans, which made it easier to unite them under a category other than being British. This also meant that they were easily controlled because they followed Christianity, so certain rules could be put in place. So straight there, that's a really good fact. What's been said is that they left, Puritans left Britain and they went to America, and that helped spread the empire. What's missing is a bit more specific information. What's missing is a bit more focus on how the empire is actually expanding, but that is a very good point. He's then kind of zoomed back out and looked at another factor. He says another reason to agree would be that the Huguenots came to Britain and easily assimilated because of Protestantism. Now, this is where the argument starts to go away from the question. And the reason for that is the question is not about people coming to Britain, it's about people spreading and the British Empire getting larger. So people moving from France to Britain is not really making the empire bigger. So this isn't answering the question. They were an extremely valuable group of people as they came from Britain and transformed technology. They were well known for inventing the Bank of England. The Quakers left Britain. Here we go. So the Quakers left Britain to seek other people to convert to Christianity. They established plantations in America, which led to slavery later on. There were missionaries who also came to convert Africans during the scramble for Africa to ease the chances of rebellion. So the only kind of thing missing, the only issue there is that the Quakers didn't establish plantations. The Quakers were actually very against slavery, but the Quakers did go out to slave plantations to convert people and to make sure they had good lives. The role of a Quaker is to get people focused on God and to convert people. So it's a very good start. There needs a few tweaks. There were missionaries also came to convert Africans to Islam, Africa excellent to ease the chances of rebellion, and they were the pioneers, the David Livingstones who went out there to explore and to convert people to Christianity. Some can disagree with this statement, so we're going for a counterpoint now, saying that it was the sheer power of the British that helped them expand the empire at such a level. Now, although it's not one of our major factors, it's not one of the factors that I talked about before, which are up here, it does fit in to a number of them. It does fit into economic resources, which is important. And although he hasn't named that, he has done the rest of his argument is very good, so it links in. So the Royal Navy played a significant part in making colonialism possible for the British, as their expertise in privateering allowed British advantage over other countries like France in the ocean. An example could be the trade triangle of the British created by forcefully stealing Africans and selling them for money to be slaves. Excellent. This is a good example of how Britain expanded the empire. Although you haven't hit the factor on the head, you've made a very good point. This is economic reasons. Britain also wanted to be better than its neighbouring countries like France, to seek land to control, to have power over them. So this motivated colonialism. We see the reoccurring theme of wanting to be better in British history. For example, the Vikings established Danelaw, so they wanted more land to be better than other clans. 100 Years' War was also triggered by disagreement between King Philip of France and King Edward over land, and British won at the Battle of Crecy. So although he's moving away from what the question's asking, he is still referring to economic reasons. If this factor was economic reasons and you were kind of using these points that you're making and then linking them back to the question at the end, this is important because then the answer would have more focus. And that's kind of mirrored in the first one. So religion is clearly a significant part of the British colonialism. The question is about the expansion of the British Empire. So if you use the words in the question, the examiner knows exactly what you're doing. In conclusion, I disagree with the statement and believe that British colonialism was caused by the power advantages and the motivation of the British to be better than other countries. Again, a good conclusion, but there's just not enough to support that, I believe, that you need to at least reference religion in that conclusion. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I'm gonna finish there. I'm just going to echo my message from the beginning of this video. You need to make sure you're completing work and submitting it for me. This is your life, this is your qualification at the end of year 11, and we've got to make sure we're taking it seriously. Stay tuned, there's going to be week 2 coming out very shortly, and you'll be able to watch that again. Alright, well thank you very much. Good luck with your week 3 activities. Keep working, keep sending me work, and ask me any questions if you need to. Alright, have a good week. Goodbye.